Hey guys, Pixie here, and I'm going to do a little more discussion on Starbound. I'm covering two Friday updates, one from a few weeks back and one from today. The first one I wanted to talk about is NPC visual dynamics. In Starbound, there are going to be lots and lots of NPCs, monsters and stuff. And something unique about what they'll be like in Starbound is that they have many different dynamic appearances, so they won't really look the same twice. Dynamic appearances mean you'll see a mob once and it'll look one way, you might encounter the same mob again, it'll look completely different. So if you look at the examples here, there's three types of penguins there. The one on the left has one big eye, he's green and he's got a little bat wing on the back. The one in the middle has got little angel wings and the halo, and he's a black and white penguin, and he's kind of like a king penguin with the strips by his eyes. And the next one is a little turtle penguin, which is kind of cute. So penguins can be found throughout the Starbound universe, throughout the galaxy. They can be different species, have different modifications, and be different colours. Some might be rarer than others. Others might give you special rewards, and the combinations are quite numerous. You can see in this next shot you've got I think it looks like a lizard on the left with a tribal headpiece carrying a spear and wearing a little cloth thong thing. And then the middle one has got some kind of armour on, and the one on the right hand side, he's a naked little lizard. And then we've got three types of deer. There's a sort of frosty blue-white on the left hand side with short horns and a white mane, and the one in the middle is a blue deer with big blue horns, and the one on the right hand side is a more typical reindeer stag. So that's NPC visual dynamics. So you'll have one type of monster in the game, and it'll be a base type like a lizard or a penguin or a deer, but lots of different variations on what they look like, what they drop, where you find them, that kind of thing. Now the next update is today's update that's talking about shields in the game. I'll just read from Ty's post at the top here of the site. One of the things they wanted to do with Starbound is give the combat a lot of depth and flow, and they're aiming to rival the depth of combat you're used to seeing in huge modern RPGs like Skyrim or Amalur. So weapons in Starbound can be placed in either the left or the right hand, and you can see on this little clip of the interface that there's a left and a right button there in blue and red respectively, and they correspond with the left and right mouse buttons. Some weapons are two-handed and others, like shields, are one-handed. Picking two weapons or tools that complement each other is a big part of being combat effective. You can choose two daggers, or a sword and a shield, or an axe and a gun. It's entirely up to you what you want to wield in the game. And the combat system in Starbound spans many different tools and weapons, far too many to mention in a single post. So I thought he'd start with one they haven't really discussed yet, and that's shields. Touching most enemies in Starbound won't damage the player directly. Instead, enemies have to go through an attack animation to damage the player. And this opens up the gameplay massively to blocking and counter attacks, and that's where shields come in. You can see in this animation of the frosty blue stag from the previous picture, he's going through an attack animation there. Once equipped to the left or the right hand, shields are brought out by holding the corresponding mouse button. If the player is attacked during this period, they take a small percentage, depending on the level of the shield, of regular damage that's applied to the player's health bar as white recoverable health, and you can see a little white slot there on the health bar. Once combat is over, that white health will regenerate. However, if the player is hit, they lose all of their white health. If the player strikes an enemy shortly after blocking an attack, the player gets a counter-attack, which is a guaranteed critical hit. And they're experimenting with increasing the counter-attack damage further based on the amount of white health the player currently has. If you block many attacks, then your next counter-attack will be devastating, but if you slip up, you lose it all, so there's a major risk-reward gameplay at work there. And on top of all that, it won't be just you making use of shields. The humanoid enemies will also use them, and some creatures may have natural shields. So that's shields they've talked about today, and they're saying there's going to be more on combat later. So that's quite interesting, opens up lots of possibilities in the game, and it's fun to know that you won't be the only one using shields. You'll come across monsters and NPC humanoid mobs in the game that also use shields. You can see in this little picture, the guy on the left has got a little buckler, and the guy on the right has got a crazy sci-fi purple laser shield thing going on. So that's a couple of Starbound updates. I hope you're excited for the game, and I'll keep you updated. Bye!